This is 10 hours before we leave for the mountains. Up until that moment, I was happily wrenching on my Land Cruiser 100 series, installing upgrades, getting the car ready for my upcoming Carpathians winter trip. 3 days of mud, snow, steep climbs, and long descents. But disaster strikes. Just 10 hours before leaving, I notice a leak. Not a trickle, a proper leak. Coming from the front differential, right where the drive shaft goes in. Passenger side. And a little on the driver's side too. I froze. I had replaced both front CV axles just weeks earlier, but I hadn't really driven the truck since. The trip was starting in 10 hours. It was booked, paid for, ready. And this wasn't something you ignore and see what happens. Was the seal damaged?
Right out.
Did the CV not seat properly? Was the diff already compromised? I had two options: cancel the trip or take a calculated risk. Because what actually happened next wasn't a clean fix in the garage. It was a decision I had to live with, on the road, in the mountains, with a leaking differential. And one overlooked detail almost made the difference between turning back or making it home without a single issue. But to understand the whole story, we need to go back in time. So today I'm tearing into the stock upper control arms. This is a set of Terrain Tamer upgraded control arms specifically designed for lifted Land Cruiser 100s. They are made down under and are very expensive, but very necessary. Here's how they look side by side with the OE ones from my car. And here's a sneak peek at the proper way of installing them in the car. While real me is banging the crap out of these control arms, let me take the opportunity to tell you why I'm doing this upgrade. The car is lifted by 5 centimeters or 2 inches, so the OE control arms are too short, meaning that the front wheels have negative camber. This is an extreme example where negative camber is desired due to increased stability while driving. Since drifting is the last thing my Land Cruiser wants to do, negative camber is undesirable since it reduces tire grip and compromises stability. Also, my awesome 35-inch trepadors are getting ruined on the inside track. Here's how to change the control arms with minimal tools. Squeak, squeak. This might actually come out without the Dremel. Ha, that was easy. Here it's the 24 mil, which is not this one, not this one. You don't want to know the state of my tools right now. So literally all I got to work with for this job is this box. There's the tie rod end, and in the bottom is the upper control arm. Where are you, 24 mil? I finally found it. It was on the damn torque wrench. I don't care about this ball joint, if it's ruined or not. Wow. That was really in there. Oh my God. Look at the state of this inner tie rod. Completely shot. And I just changed it like a few months ago. Then I did some really hard off-roading. I'm using really good parts, expensive parts, but they're not made for off-roading. They're made for, you know, grocery shopping. While in here, I'm also replacing tie rod ends because the ones in the car are too short. Haven't tried these parts before, but from what I can see, reviews, they seem okay. Oh my God, but this is completely destroyed. I hate using worn out old parts, but I don't have this part now and I don't have time to wait for it. Okay, let me just eyeball it. Nope, this is way out. It's toe out. So it needs to be something like this. Okay, eyeball time. I think one more twist should do it. We'll just set it like this for now. Once I put the tire back on, I can check if the wheels are aligned, this one and the one in the back. For now, I want to change the upper control arm since we're already here. Oh yeah, I'm so strong. All right, we're good. This is coming out. It fell somewhere. Okay, got it. And now do you want to come out? No, you don't. Why not? Oh, wow. The bolt is finally out. The ball joint, kind of good. Yeah, it's still good. It's beginning to tire. And now it's time to put this bad boy in. Oh yeah, you're looking good. Okay. Connect it to the steering knuckle. Now I need to torque the upper control arm, but I need to raise the steering knuckle a bit higher so that it sits at the right height, and then I can torque these. Otherwise, if I torque them now, these bushings here inside, they'll twist when the car is loaded. Torque specs, 98 newtons. Oh, this is gonna take forever. Click already. Oh, yeah. The alignment here is also perfect. Almost there. Yes. Now I just need to torque this. I believe it's 110, if I remember. Upper suspension on. 110, oh yeah. Click. You're about to see a very unorthodox method of aligning the front wheels, aka the toe. The whole reason why I replaced the tie rod ends was because they were maxed out and the car had toe in, like this. The string method allows me to get a ballpark alignment. Normally, I take the car to an alignment shop, but when they see me rolling on 35-inch tires, they immediately say, no siree. So, the string method it is. It's perfect. It is actually perfect. Yesterday it took me like 5 tries to do the other wheel, but I think now I have a lot more experience. Thank you very much. Jack stands with strings on them. Fantastic job. So you know how you fix one issue and 5 more pop up? Well, I'm lucky today because I fixed one issue and just one more popped up. Let me show you. While I was working on the control arms, I noticed a big puddle of oil. I don't know if you can see this in this light. Yeah, this was unexpected. Let me tell you about this in a more dramatic tone. Houston, we have a problem. See that oil stain right over there? That is from the seal of the differential where the drive shaft goes in. And I might have made a tiny mistake when I changed the drive shafts and I installed them. See, there's a very specific procedure to install the seals on the drive shaft, and I think I messed it up. Okay, so here's what happened. A few months ago, I started hearing a really annoying sound when driving, like something was grinding, especially when wheels were at full lock. Turns out, the needle bearing on the inside of the knuckle on the passenger side was destroyed. The boots were torn on the CV axles, so I started to take them apart, and found this inside. Rust. So a decision was immediately made. I bought replacement outer CVs and rebuilt the axles. I did everything by the book, using only original Toyota parts or OEM Plus equivalents. The problem is, the book is not very specific on how to do the repairs. Let's have a look at the CV axle installation procedure. Oh wait, that's it? Okay, let's look at the removal procedure. It just says to hit it with a hammer. What about the oil seal install? It just says to use a special tool and hit it with a hammer. I did have a hammer. The special tool, not so much. With only 5 days to go before the trip, the seal on the passenger side of the differential needed to be replaced. That means that everything needs to come out on this side. Squeak, squeak. A non-Toyota special tool. Something like that. I do have a tool for this, but it's MIA for the moment. Ah, I had it. It slipped. I'm gonna use the long extension here. That was easy because it's fresh. And I hope I don't have to ruin this ball joint to take this out. Come on, come out nicely. This does not want to come out. I tried a lot of extractors here, but nothing worked to remove this ball joint. So I had to call it a day and figure something out. I went to the flea market, which is conveniently located right outside, and I bought some proper extractors, smaller one and the bigger one. We'll see which one I need. This is the ABS sensor. I do hope this is gonna come out peacefully. Last time I did this, it broke, and a new one is 200 euro. Okay. And that is 2. And now this one can come out. I spent a good amount of time trying to release this ball joint, but nothing worked until just when I was about to give up, this happened. It popped out. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, you stay there and you watch me drop this on my feet. Ah, yeah. Spindle is out. Get this out of the way. Oh. It's got to be like 30 kilos at least. Now the offending article. So this is per the repair manual, if you believe it or not. I'm just gonna pry it out. Ah, there we go. Take it out. Oh. So I rummaged around in my big pile of tools and I found this hammer extractor thing. This is actually per the repair manual. They use a similar kind of tool for it. It goes in there. You need 2 hands for this ideally. Don't know if you can see that, but the teeth are grabbing. All right, something like that. Oh yeah. I got this cup, which is only slightly larger than the seal. And that means, what is this? Oh, this is a pigeon feather. I want to clean the surface a bit. It's dripping. Stop dripping. Need to make sure that it's going in flush. So now it's completely flush all around. And I need to get a smaller cup. I think we're right on the money on all 4 sides. Now it's time to insert the drive shaft. This clip is quite worn and I plan on changing it, but I placed an order and it's coming in 2 weeks and I don't have time to wait for it. So I'm just gonna put it in as is. I think it's also missing the dust cap from here. I also placed an order for that. So I'm gonna be back here when I rebuild the differential, because I'm gonna need to take out the drive shafts anyway. So I want this gap to be pointing down. That's how the repair manual says to do it. And now it's just a matter of wiggling it in and try to have the splines engage with the diff. And also one more important thing is that I want the differential to be straight like this when it goes in. See, this is tricky because I'm holding the drive shaft, which is not exactly light, with one hand and the pry bar. And I need to shove it in. Now I need to check. I can feel now that the splines are well aligned and I can hammer it. Is this in all the way? Not even close. It is aligned, but it doesn't want to go in. All right, it's in. And I can tell that it's clipped in because it's making this noise. See, I can't put it out by hand. Okay, this is great. That was such a battle. It's very hard to do this on your own. Okay, since I have this exposed, what I want to do is change this clamp. This is the factory clamp for this axle joint. The boot here, this is heavy duty off-road because I had a lot of torn boots and I'm tired of changing them. This boot is a bit too big for this factory clamp, so I need to take this out. Okay, and I have here some hardware store clamps like this with the screw, and these have been really good. I use them all over the place. From my experience, you should definitely go with these, because once you put them on the boot, they will never come out. I haven't seen one come out. Let's first clean around a bit because it's full of grease. Okay, this is good. Problem solved. I got 10 minutes left. I think I'm gonna get the spindle going here. It's a bastard to put in. This is a really heavy spindle. I almost forgot. Very important. There's this spacer here. Okay, here goes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's threaded. Now I can put the top control arm and the nut. This is good enough for now. The spindle is back. And you can see that the shaft is coming out on this side. I can reuse the old clip because it's brand new. And just pop it in like this. It's moving around freely, which means it's clipped. And that's it.
So, sit rep, it's still leaking oil. I noticed that there's a big gap between the diff and the axle, and to me it looks like something is missing there.
So I rummaged around in my discarded old parts pile and I found the dust cap, which for some reason was missing from this. I don't know, it fell out or something. Luckily I found it. It was still usable, beaten up but usable, and I took out the drive shaft, I popped that in off camera and put everything back, and now it's bone dry. There's not even a little bit of oil coming out. So let's put everything back together. Where is my lamp? Okay, so first thing, I want to put in the brake caliper. Just place it. Here's my nifty mirror. Of course, it's got a feather on it from my friends, the birds. So the mirror's got a little light, and it's perfect to see here where the bolts are lining up. I need a lot of patience for this. Okay, it's finally in. Oh my God. Oh, the diff is bone dry. There's not even a bit of oil coming out. I am so glad that I took the time to go look for the freaking dust seal. All right, so the caliper is back in. The little bolts are in. The sensor is in. Now, all we need to do is tighten the control arms and then put in the tie rod end. Oh, and the dust cap here. Good. Finally, we can deal with this one. Wow, is that droopy or what? Okay. Sorry, the battery went out on it. Let's put this back too. Good. Okay. Clean the leftover grease that was flung from the drive shaft. Okay, so that's it. We are officially done on this side. There's literally nothing wrong with this side of the car at the moment. I need to add a bit of oil to the differential because it's been leaking quite a lot and I want it to be topped off. All right, so this is the cleaned up engine guard. All I need to do to pop this in is to fix the threads in the chassis. So gotta chase them a bit and see if they'll come to. Otherwise, I don't know, put some helicoil or something into it. Next order of business is to fix the intake. So gotta go in the engine bay. It's very important I do this because I have a vacuum leak right now in the intake and the car is running rich because of it. Very cold today. Very sunny, but very cold.
While I'm unbolting the intake, let me try to explain the problem. The issue here is that we have a vacuum leak on the air intake. This means that cold, highly pressurized air coming in from the turbo is leaking before reaching the cylinders, leading to a loss of power, increased fuel consumption, and a bit of black smoke coming from the exhaust. The ECU is expecting lots of air, so it sends lots of fuel to be burnt. So the leak is tricking the engine into running rich. This car is by no means fuel efficient, especially with all the off-road goodies it's been gifted with. But right now, it eats about 20-25 liters per 100 kilometers, which is just insane. And that's with normal on-road driving. Look at the amount of oil on this gasket, a clear indicator that the air intake was not sealed properly. Our culprit here were the bottom two studs holding the air intake in. Both of them were stripped, both the studs and the nuts. So what I did was to rethread them using different sized nuts. This way, the fix is permanent and I don't have to remove any studs from the air intake.
It bottomed out.
An easy fix for a big problem. Now it's time to put everything back. The plan is to leave the HQ in Brasov and drive about 300 kilometers to Cluj-Napoca, the starting place for the winter survival off-road adventure. Here's some pictures from last year's edition. I couldn't wait to get going, so with the car mechanically in order and upgraded control arms, it was time to start packing. But the Toyota gods are probably on holiday today, because the next day I found a giant puddle under the car. Of course, the other diff seal started leaking. Just look at it in all its glory. That, ladies and gents, is a drip. Not a leak, a drip. It was dripping every 10 seconds or so. Time to panic. This is me at 4 a.m. the next morning.
What the hell is going on?
Alright, get it together. With less than 10 hours to go, I decided to try replacing the left side diff seal. I pulled the car into the garage and got to work, determined to fix this once and for all. But apparently the Toyota gods were off-roading that day too. After tearing down the left knuckle, the lower control arm ball joint just wouldn't pop. I tried every tool I had, broke 2 extractors, and eventually started hammering like a madman. I got pretty much carried away and nearly destroyed the threads on the ball joint. And that's when it hit me. If I ruined this, the trip was over. There was no way I could replace the entire ball joint in time. That's when I gave up. I started putting everything back together and left with the diff still leaking. Just hoping it would survive the road, since it only seemed to leak when the car was stationary. All that's left now is to air the tires, fill the power steering fluid, fill the windshield washer fluid, and add a tiny bit of coolant.
Gotta trust it. Nothing more I can do here.
So it's just been about 10 kilometers and I stopped to check the oil. This is what I got from the engine guard. So it is dripping quite vigorously. The good news is it's only dripping when I'm stationary. When the CV axle is spinning, it's all good because I think the oil doesn't have time to escape. It was a very stressful trip. I stopped every 50 kilometers to check out the seal. It was leaking badly, I have to admit. At one point I was considering turning around and just heading home. Eventually though, I arrived at the Airbnb in Cluj and I parked the car. It was raining and I was pretty down in the dumps, so I just went to sleep. And the next morning, the sun was shining and I woke up with an epiphany. But first, I went to get a coffee and look who I met on the way. A couple of collies out on their morning stroll. I just had to pet them. They were my good luck charm. Then coffee. Very important. Now let me tell you what happened with the car. Of course, the whole underbody was full of oil that sprayed everywhere. I filled up the diff in the parking lot. It took an incredible half a bottle to do it. Now for the epiphany. I picked ChatGPT's brain and I realized that I hadn't checked the diff breather hose. If it was blocked, then it couldn't release the pressure except past the weakest link, the seal. Of course, the diff breather was rusted solid, so I cut it out and hey presto, problem solved. I then went to the hardware store and bought a $2 hose and clamp, and in 45 seconds I replaced the thing. Talk about an easy fix. Now, let's go off-roading! The off-roading trip was a lot of fun. Thankfully, we had some snow and mud, but it was nothing too extreme. I got back home with the car in one piece, and I can officially say that this whole experience has been totally worth it. I learned a lot, and I can tell you that this car is indestructible. Here we are. We are home. It's been 767 kilometers. No disasters, no incidents. The seal held up, of course, with my bush mechanic trick of changing the Diff breather. We got home okay. Thank you, Toyota. You're a great companion. This car can take me to the end of the world. If you watched this far, I genuinely appreciate it. This episode was this close to not happening. Next up, while I wait for the new garage to be finished, I'm tackling all the small things that this Land Cruiser has been hiding. Sensors, seats, fuel system, all the small things that add up over time. And once the new lift is installed, that's when we go underneath and fix everything that's been hiding. Seals, bushings, drive shafts, everything that this old warhorse needs. If you want to see this thing properly revived, then subscribe. And if you're curious to see what it cost to turn this thing from a rust bucket into what you see today, then check out the video right here. See you in the next one.